module 3. But I have to say again, guys, I've just been so overwhelmed with excitement at the energy and the tenacity at which you're jumping in there. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but you'll never get to that end goal if you don't actually, if you're not doing what you're doing and you're doing all the right things, you're getting in there and making it happen. So it's really exciting. And what you'll find is, as I said, once you get those few wins, that will just catapult you on forward, and that positive energy then starts. It's amazing how that's infectious. And don't forget, I've also said to you, there's a lot of relapse consultants. We're starting to get them flushing out now with people interested in reigniting. If you demonstrate you can actually pull a bit of a team together, you will get those girls, and you will also get leads from the existing list to follow up. So don't worry, there's more where that came from, and more qualified leads as well. So, all right, Tash, over to you, my love.
Wonderful. Okay, so let me just make sure, see who we've got. Sorry, Beck, did you want to say something quickly?
Nakia's just messaged me. She's just can't get on, so she's going to probably pop in a minute. So
no worries. She had a bit of trouble last time too. I'll have a chat to her. All right, well, we'll just keep going. This is being recorded anyway, so she can always go back and have a look. So, Becky, thank you for muting yourself. So we'll get started. It's really ironic that we've had this conversation about leads, because tonight's webinar is actually all about leads, so go figure. And I'm going to talk to you about the different kinds of leads there are, and perhaps might shed some light into why you are having some success or not so much success, with some of these leads that you're calling from the PASH leads. So it might sort of open a bit of an eye up into categorizing these leads into what kind of person they are. So we'll get started. As you can see, module 3, generating leads. Now what we're doing next week, I'll just let you know now, we're moving through, I really like to sort of present information in a very sequential order. So what you'll find is that everything that we do sort of builds on the last thing that we did, and so on and so forth, right up to, as you can see, module 8, you as the business manager. So what I'm sort of doing is unpacking this in a very sequential manner for you. So last week we talked about the principles of sponsoring and the art of sponsoring itself. This time we're actually getting a little bit more specific, talking about the kinds of leads. Next week in the crunch, we're actually going to talk about how you actually capture those leads in terms of what you say and what you should do and that sort of thing. So it's a little bit more hands-on. So you can see that it's actually becoming quite a sequential operation. So, I'll just make sure I didn't skip. Okay, all good. So we talked about the recruitment radar. You're going to hear the same things coming up every week, so that eventually what you'll get to know is that, okay, these sort of words or these kinds of things are really important. The recruitment radar, which we've talked about, should be on all the time, whether you're at a party or you're down the street or you're in the shops getting your groceries or whatever you're doing, it should always be on. Because the more people that you approach, the more people that will join your team. Not however many people that you see will join your team, it's how many people that you actually approach to join your team and actually speak to about the business opportunity. There's a really big difference. Hope and chance are not a success plan. You've really got to have something very specific to go ahead and do and say to these people to be able to offer them that opportunity. And last week we talked about, basically, everywhere you go, you have to have your radar on. You have to open the conversation. You have to say what you do. You have to talk about your personal story. So they're the kind of things when hope and chance is sort of like, you can't sit back and wish that that person would join your team. You do have to take action. In your little booklet, I've got some little colouring in for you to do. These figures are only based on my personal, experience. They are not based on the fact. This was just what I found. About 1/5 of the people that I sign up will be active for longer than 6 months. So in terms of what we're going to do tonight is talking about the quality of the person that you're actually going to sponsor. We were just talking about time wasters, people that are hopelessly rude or whatever. You don't want those people in your team. And I found about 1/10 of the people that I sign up will be the big business builders. So there's not a lot of, in terms of having 10 people in your team, you might have one who's aspiring to be the next manager. And again, these aren't figures that I've pulled from statistics. They're just things that I found from my own team that might give you a little bit of, I share that with you. That might make sense to you in terms of someone who's done it. So, so keeping in mind those sorts of figures as well. So now we're going to talk about the types of leads and which is the most important lead. Now, you've all heard me talk about relationships till I was blue in the face. Hot leads, I feel, are the people that you've already got a relationship with. So these might be people who, you know, you've done a couple of parties for, or you've seen at a couple of parties. They might be the people in your family and friends circle. Your warm leads are the people that you have like a semi-relationship with, kind of, you know who they are, they know who you are, but you would need to develop that relationship a little bit further for them to turn into a hot lead. So warm leads are often acquaintances, friends of friends, etc. And new leads are the people who you meet while your recruitment radar are on. These are new people, and they're people that you do not have a relationship with. So if you guys think about your PASH leads that you've just got from head office, they're all new leads. They're fresh. You don't know them. You don't have a relationship with them. So they're a little bit more difficult to sort of get started. But I want you to also, while we're on it, think about hot leads, warm leads. The people who sign up as a consultant with any company, like the first people that we have host parties for us are our hot leads. They're the people who are our friends and family, the people that we spend the most amount of time with. So we usually use those people first as a party booking. Then hopefully we can book a couple of parties from those parties, or we should be, and they're your warm leads. They're sort of the friends of the friends. Like, it's comfortable because you kind of know them, but they're not really a great friend. People often, I call it the ring. Like, if you can't jump over the ring, it's about the 6-week mark. People, once they've exhausted all of their warm leads, people will either sink or swim at that point with their parties. And I'm just telling you this because it's really important to know with your new recruits that are coming on, that the key for people to really, your consultants to really move past that 4 to 6 week barrier is that they need to start booking parties from their warm leads parties into their new leads parties. They've got to start to do parties with people that they don't know. And I feel in business that that's when you become quite successful in terms of you've got a happening business, you've got a thriving business, is when you're actually working with the people that you don't know. And that's really scary for some people. And you might know someone, or you might have felt the same for yourself, that once you've done all your hot leads parties and then moved to the next ring out, which was all your warm lead parties, it sort of got a bit scary at about that point. So I just want you to see the correlation between, even though we're talking about recruitment leads today, same sort of process, same hot leads, warm leads, fresh leads, new leads for consultants booking parties as well. But which do you think is the most important out of the 3 groups when you're recruiting? Are they going to be your hot leads? Are they going to be your warm leads, or are they going to be your new leads? Anyone want to answer?
New leads, because you've got to build a relationship with them, maybe.
Correct, yeah. So your new leads are the most important because there is so many more of them than there are of your hot leads and warm leads. There are so many people that you don't know yet, as opposed to the people that you do know and have a relationship with. And eventually, if you approach your hot leads to join your team and you approach your warm leads to join your team, you're eventually going to run out of people. So those new leads are the absolute most important people to have on your list, and the most important people to be always on the lookout for. So where do we find hot leads? We've sort of covered this. So your family, they're in your mother's group, they're your friends, colleagues, neighbours, other parents at your school, or maybe through sport. They're the people that you actually spend a lot of time with. These are your hot leads. You've got a really strong, solid relationship with them. Now, sometimes hot leads are great people to approach to join our business. They should be the first people that you start with. Sometimes you might not want to work with your hot leads because they're often really close family and friends. So, you have to weigh up, do you want to work with these people, or do you want to have just the friendship with these people? So not everyone will be right for the business opportunity, but these are your hot leads, and they're the people that most consultants will go to first to approach for the business opportunity and parties, because it's comfortable. You have that relationship with them already, and you'll know whether or not that's something that they might be interested in or not at all. Where to find warm leads. So these are on your social outings. They might be a friend of a friend, or they might be someone that you spend a bit of time with incidentally. And I've just put here people like, your hairdresser, you might go every 6 weeks and have your foils done and a trim or something. She's a warm lead. She's someone that you know, but you're not necessarily really good friends with, but you have a good enough relationship with that you can talk to about these sorts of things. Same with your beautician or your bank teller if you're the person that does the banking at work. Or if you go to the gym and you see ladies there at the same time every time, they're kind of warm leads, people that you might feel semi-comfortable approaching. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but you feel like you've got enough of a relationship with them to actually approach them about the business opportunity. Also at the shop, so you might have the same checkout lady every time. If you shop at a similar time each week, you might have the same lady that you see, and you might just have a quick chin wag and catch up on how's things going as she scans your groceries. And the other one is referrals from friends, people that go, oh, I know someone who'd be really interested in hosting a party for you. Oh, I know someone who'd be brilliant at what you do. And they give you a referral. And never be afraid to ask people for referrals, because I think that's really powerful, and they know their friends really well, so it sort of gives you a bit of an in as well. New leads are everywhere. So you guys have got a captive audience with your parties. There's the first thing. Next week we're going to go into a lot of detail about who to speak to at your parties specifically in terms of why they might be interested in the opportunity. There's lots of different styles of customers. You've got your customers, your party attendees, you've got mums at the park, you've got the is this seat taken, which is a great strategy. You know, when you're at the park and your kid goes and plays and there's one big bench seat and there's one lady on it and she's on her phone and you'd like to sit down, it's a really great way to sort of instigate a bit of a conversation, and then of course talk about her child, because everyone likes to talk about themselves. And that's a really great strategy to get into meeting somebody new in a very comfortable, natural way. Children are like the meal ticket to meeting people, I reckon. They're just like, it's the perfect thing. You ask about someone's kid, they will talk. They will talk, they will talk, they will talk, and they'll reveal all of their pain points and hot buttons, and you're in like Flint. It's amazing. So yeah, children, great meal ticket, okay? So identifying new leads, I'm going to concentrate on new leads in this because I think it's something that we're all doing at the moment. You guys are all trying to make connections with new leads and build that relationship so that you can offer this opportunity to them. But the biggest tip is not to discount anyone. Often it was the lady at the party who didn't say a word and didn't order anything that was the most interested in the business opportunity and perhaps ended up doing quite well. I had a lady who did not say boo during a party. She did not buy a thing. She didn't want to participate in games. I thought, oh my goodness, this lady is a complete prude. And at the end, she said, I'd like to know more about what you do. And I thought, I would never have even approached you because I didn't think that you were interested. So that was a really big lesson for me, and not to discount anybody at a party, especially just because you don't feel like they're getting into the groove of what you're doing. So don't discount anyone, and make sure you are talking in general to everybody about the opportunity, but also one-on-one with the opportunity as well. And again, we're going to do more of that next week in a lot of detail. So your hostess is a perfect place to start to be a consultant in your team, because she loves you. She's obviously got a connection with you. She's invited you into her home. People who come to parties and don't particularly feel that they like you will not invite you into their home to do a party. So the hostess already thinks that you're fantastic. She's invited you into the home and she's having the party because she's going to get free products, which means she loves the products. Perfect person to join your team. People that place large orders are perfect to approach for the business opportunity because they love the product. And you can also then be saying, you know, as a consultant, this is the discount that you receive. That's really appealing for some people as well. People who book a party love the product and the party experience. Again, they love you. So they're often a really good person to ask. And I do mention this in next week's webinar as well, but I found a very powerful way of initiating the opportunity to somebody who was booking a future party was to talk about the opportunity, hit her pain points, hit her hot buttons, and we will talk again next week. I'm trying not to overlap too much because I want to save some, but hitting their pain and pleasure points at the same time and saying to them, well, do you know what? Instead of me coming to do your party, why don't I come along and support you, and you can actually make all the money from doing your own party. Would you like to make an extra $100 or $200 for the night? And again, I don't want to promise that, but I'm instigating a bit of, excite and invite in that person. And often they go, oh, really? And I can say, well, do you know what? Just from tonight, I've already made $125. I've been here for 2.5 hours. We could get that set up for you if you want for your own party. How good would that be? And that really hits a lot of, kills a lot of birds with two birds with one stone, because what you're doing is you've got a party booking, you're going to use it as a training opportunity, and it gets a new consultant on board for you so that you can actually get her started and making money and booking parties straight away. So it's a really, it's a great little technique to use if you think someone that's booked a party is going to be interested in the opportunity. And more often than not, they will say yes to that as well. And the other thing, I've got a little story about this last one, the vocal guest. She's obviously very excited. I had a woman, I don't know, Joe, if you remember Melissa Edwards. She, no, she was a consultant. I signed up, and she interrupted me the entire way through my party. She was being a little bit rude in terms of interrupting me and making remarks, and I just felt exhausted by this, and I'm still friends with her. I was exhausted by her, and in the end I just about lost it at her, and I nearly turned around and said, would you please let me finish? But instead I changed my mind at the last minute. I said, you know what, you'd be fantastic at what I do. And she said, well, let's talk afterwards. And then she signed up that night. So it's amazing how I nearly lost my brain at her, but in turn I switched it around and thought, you know what, you should be standing where I'm standing. You could nearly be doing this whole party. You've got enough to say about it. And she signed up. So that's another thing to also look for, someone who's being quite vocal about everything and anything is someone also to approach. You need to look, and we're going to do this in a bit more detail now, but what you're looking for is someone who has the desire to achieve and someone who has time to build a business. Now, people will tell you all the time they don't have enough time, but when you look at the majority of us who are, you know, we work, we have a business, most of us have kids, it's an excuse. Everyone's got time. It just, sometimes people don't feel they have the time to put what they think they should put into it. Sometimes they don't realise just how simple, when you've got all your systems in place, how simple the process can really be. So this is where we get to, on one of the pages in your little workbook is your dream woman. And this is an activity I've done with several other, you know, consultants, particularly Arbonne consultants, when I speak to them about recruiting, is really we take the idea of having your dream man and really transforming it into being your dream woman. And this is almost like you would a man have a checklist of tall, dark, handsome, rich, fast car, whatever it is that you want in a man. We want to mirror the same for a woman in our team. What do you want when you're actually out looking for new leads and just talking to people, the mums in the park, the woman at the grocery store? What is it that what qualities are you looking for in this person? Now, obviously, Morgan, the lady that you had on the phone who was quite snappy at you and rude, she actually, you know, obviously is not going to be your dream woman. She's not somebody who you really want in your team. So what we want to do today is really narrow down what it is that you guys are looking for, and you will all be looking for someone different. You might have very similar traits, but you're all going to end up with a very different list. Talk recruiting to everyone, but you don't want to try to recruit everyone. Okay, you're going to find that the more you talk to someone and build a relationship, they're either going to be a good fit for you or not so much of a good fit for you. And sometimes that's okay. So I know in the first 3 to 6 months, you guys will just be recruiting anyone and everyone. That's fantastic. It'll give you some great skills. But after a certain amount of time, you guys are going to go, do you know what? I've got time wasters. I've got people wasting my time in my team. And what you'll do is you'll start to really narrow down what it is you're looking for in a sponsor, in a recruit, because you don't want people coming in wasting your time. I've got a little dot point there says the spoon feeding dilemma. Alarm bells would ring for me after I'd done my training with new consultants, and they were still asking me where they could find the shopping points PDF. It would ring alarm bells for me when they go, how much do I have to sell to make 30% in commission? It would ring alarm bells for me when they were asking little questions that they couldn't be bothered to go and find the answer to themselves. So it really is about, for me, I really wanted people who could come in, take the information I was giving them, ask really good questions, but be able to have the skill to go and find basic things out for themselves. I wanted self-sufficient consultants. That's just me personally. There's nothing worse than spending 20 minutes helping somebody who is a bit of a time waster when you could be spending that 20 minutes helping somebody who's about to recruit their 4th consultant and promote to manager. So your time becomes really, really valuable. And I know I've talked to a couple of you about this as well. So yeah, just keep that in mind about the time wasters versus the active business owners and the spoon feeding dilemma. You want to avoid that at all costs. You want to run the checklist. So you'll see that I've got little arrows pointing out from the lady's head. I want you guys to really, you know, you don't have to do it right now, but what are the qualities that you're looking for? What kind of personality does she have? More often than not, what we're actually trying to do is mirror ourselves. We want to see ourselves in somebody. I personally wanted to see someone who was really goal focused and who was driven and that did what they said, not just, you know, had, talk the talk, really. I wanted to see people who had goals for the future. I wanted to see people who were organised. They were the things that I really wanted to see when I was recruiting somebody, because I didn't want to have to do that, spoon feeding thing. What values does she have? What kind of lifestyle does she have? What qualities and what are her abilities? Perhaps she has a particular job that gives her a certain set of skills that would be really valuable as a consultant. You guys need to start to narrow down what it is that you're actually looking for. And when you work out what that is, you're able to then tailor your conversations with whoever you've met and you lead to really narrow in to go, okay, is this somebody that I think will really work well on my team? And of course, you don't want to turn her away if you don't think she's 100% a fit. Always give somebody a go, but just always keeping in the back of your mind that you really want to be putting a lot of your energy into the big business builders. So your dream woman, I've just talked about most of this. You're going to come into contact with a lot of people, so you really just want to make sure that you know, okay, this is her when I see her, and I've just got a few things written down there about communication and to personality, and has a desire to improve her life is a big one. Sometimes when we're speaking to people, and we're doing all that listening, that rich listening we were talking about last week, and that there's a difference between people who speak about the pain points in their life like they're just never going to get out of the hole, ever. And I think back to Madagascar with the dying hole, when the giraffe gets in the dying hole, they're in the dying hole. It's like, I lost my job and then this happened and then that happened, but she's actually got no desire, or she's not speaking in a manner that really makes you think she really is going to take any action and change that for herself. Whereas if you have a woman going, I lost my job, but I've been out and applied for 3 jobs this week and I think I'm going to hear back from one of those, that's the kind of person that we're looking for. Somebody who's got the desire to improve and to have a positive outlook, because that person's a go-getter, and that's what we're looking for here. So how to connect with more people? We want to make sure we've got our recruitment radar on all the time. You want to get noticed, first of all, which might be the hi, is this seat taken? And then you want to engage in that conversation and, of course, listen. You want to dress and groom appropriately. Now, this one's really hard, especially when we, want to just take the kids down to the park and you want to have a daggy day. But sometimes, and you know how superficial people can be, sometimes their first look at you might determine whether or not they're going to want to have this conversation with you in the first place. So you might be having a bit of a daggy day, but just make sure you're always, when you go out and your recruitment radar's on and you're initiating conversation with people about your business, that you're at least well groomed, you're neat, you're tidy, you're clean, that sort of thing. You might just pop on a bit of lippy or mascara or something like that. Nice fresh clothes. I think perfume always goes a long way. Just making sure that you're always in that mindset and ready, and you portray that, what you're trying to portray to them. Be happy, relaxed and approachable, which you all are. You demonstrate pride in your business, and your confidence will be just completely infectious when you're talking with a smile on your face about your business and what you're doing and telling your personal story. That's really infectious. And when they ask, so what do you do? Be ready to tell them. I'll pop the link up. I've got a really great blog that I wrote about this. I was sort of trying to marry the difference between when people say, so what do you do? And you go, well, I'm a Tupperware consultant. Or you might say that some people might go, well, actually, I help women absolutely transform their pantries into the most amazing, organised, functional spaces that they've ever had. That's so much nicer than just saying, oh, well, I'm a Tupperware consultant. So for you guys, you could be saying, well, I actually help empower women to feel sexy and confident and, educate them about all things, sexual or whatever it is, sexual wellness. Talk about those things. People will go, oh, tell me more. Whereas if you go, I'm a PASH consultant or I sell sex toys, they'll either go yay or nay. So it's really important to answer with an answer that makes them want to know more about what you do. And you want to excite them, obviously, and then invite them to have that conversation with you at a later time. So the winning attitude, this is just a bit of a summary of everything we've done the last 3 weeks. So when you're actually sponsoring somebody, you're offering them a gift. It's so important that it is a gift. It isn't, I can help you, let me help you do this. And you need to make sure you've got a positive attitude. You're sharing that personal story. You've got a big smile on your face. You're really behind what your business is and what you're doing. You can help them see the benefits and don't exclude anybody. Everyone could be a potential recruit. Every time you bump a shoulder with someone as you walk through the grocery store, they're a potential recruit for your business. Now, this is something that I have a big thing about. I see it at school every day in children, and I think it really applies well to all things to do with success. And it's something that no one likes, and it's discomfort. And I really think that naturally, especially with children, I'm seeing it every day, they don't want to feel uncomfortable in any way, so therefore they're not taking risks anymore. They would rather fail than feel discomfort. And I really want to challenge you that, well, firstly, to empathise with you. Approaching new people is uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable. It can feel really unnatural, especially if you're making that phone call from the list that Pat has given you. That can sometimes be somewhat uncomfortable because you just don't know what you're going to get on the other end. But successful people challenge discomfort every single day. They put themselves out of their comfort zone every single day to take a risk. And sometimes it pays off, sometimes you lose out, but you move on to the next time. So you need to get out of your comfort zone. And if you're feeling discomfort, that is so powerful because it means that you're actually achieving some success, which is fantastic. You've got that yucky feeling inside going, I don't want to do this. This is feeling really uncomfortable. I don't want to go and talk to that lady. She's a bit scary. She might tell me to go away. That's fantastic because that means that you're actually experiencing growth once you go and actually take action on it. And when they say no, or in the case of Morgan's, I know what you're calling about and I'm not interested, that won't kill you, okay? It's unpleasant and it's not very nice, but it will not kill you. So you need to just go out there and make yourself uncomfortable and actually challenge yourself to really give this a really good go and to approach some new leads, more new leads than you're approaching anybody else, because that's where the bulk of the people are. And I've talked for long enough. So this week, I want you guys to be looking the next, wherever you got up to with your monthly view in your calendar, I want you to look at the following 2 weeks after that and identify your business appointment times so that you're ready to book people into them as soon as you've had an opportunity to speak with them. Now, again, it doesn't have to be a face-to-face sit-down talk. It's not I'm going to drive for 35 minutes and sit with you for an hour and then have to drive home for 35 minutes. It can be, I've got a half an hour here to schedule in business opportunity appointments or to follow up with someone. So it's really important that you have a variety of longer and shorter business appointment times and times to obviously contact your leads. I want you to approach 2 hot leads, people that you know and have a really good relationship with. Have a think, not just on the ground level, have a think about your social media. There could be somebody who you've got a really close relationship with that may not live near you geographically, that you could approach. Have a look at your Facebook list. You might actually find some people on there that might be really great as hot and warm leads. I want you to approach 2 warm leads, and I want you to identify and approach 2 new leads this week. People that are not on your PASH list, people that are not already known to you, people that have not been to your parties, 2 completely new people. So you might have to take your kids down to the park, or you might have to, go and play sport this week even though you've ditched it, or you go to the gym and if you've ditched it for the last 3 weeks. Get out of your comfort zone and go and find some new people. And I really want to see your system for record keeping. And I saw you guys, got your date and what you've talked about, which is great. Consider perhaps doing a half a page for everyone so that you actually can look at one person's name. So if I had Jo at the top and I've called her on the 13th, the 15th and the 17th, all of her calls are directly under one another, so I can see a really good it's a really quick reference on one page to what I've talked about with that one person. Otherwise, you're going to be flicking between pages. So have a think about how you might be able to, in the long term, sustain that kind of record keeping over a period of time. So I'd like to see those as well. How are we feeling about that coursework? Yep. Fantastic. Okay, Jo, do you have anything to add before I will just say, sorry, I did send an email out about this. I'm away on a school excursion tomorrow night. Woohoo, the whole night. So excited, can you tell? We're going to Outback Spectacular, so that should actually be quite good. But when you're taking little kids away, it's just a nightmare. So I've moved our group call to this Thursday, same time at 8:30, same link, that's the recurring link. But yeah, it will just be on Thursday this week instead of tomorrow.
Great. Thanks, Tash. Okay, any other, I sort of had bit of a blurb at the start. So is there anything else anyone would like to add or any questions? No? All good? Can you hear me?
Not really. Just
Can you hear
a lot of
me?
it. Yep, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Cool.
Just this lady who keeps cancelling her party. She's booked in with me 3 times. She's cancelled her party 3 times. She keeps telling me she wants to be a consultant, and then she cancelled on me at the last minute on Saturday night, leaving me furious. And yeah, then I got a message back off her the next day saying that she's still keen to be a consultant and she wants to meet up with me on Wednesday. But I don't know whether I should bother with this lady or not.
Well, what I would get her to, I mean, I think that, it's great that she's keen. It doesn't show over. Why did she cancel the party?
She sent me, I saw on her Facebook page in the morning that she was having some sort of dramas. I don't know what it was first, but she put on a post about her son being the only person she could count on. And then later on in the afternoon, I got a message off her saying that all of her friends had let her down.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
You know, I would say to her, why don't you just come round to my house?
Yeah,
have you done that?
Yeah, I asked her if she wanted to come around today to meet up with you because she lives on the other side of town, which is like an hour away. She couldn't get out here today, so I just offered to meet up with her on Wednesday. We're going to meet up at a Macca's in town.
Oh, right. She can't get to your house?
She couldn't get out here today because of circumstances. But yeah, the only day she could meet up was Wednesday, so I just offered to meet her halfway.
Oh, fine. Okay. Well, look, give her, I suppose.
Fettuccine, just 300 grams of pasta. Oh, sorry.
I was thinking you're trying to add something, Morgan, there. Yeah, look, Beck, I would give it a go. I would be cautious about somebody like that, but it's probably worthwhile if she's meeting you halfway. If you're sort of not going out your way, like you're quite happy to go there and have lunch at Macca's or whatever anyway. So you sort of go, well, if she doesn't turn up, get her to confirm that before she's leaving. That's one thing you can do. Is just say, look, can you just text me before you're leaving? I've got young kids, so I really want to come and meet you, but just want to make sure you're on your way before I leave. Who knows? Maybe she has had a tough run. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt, see if she meets up on Wednesday and take it from there.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's all. I don't know.
Well, look, seriously, and you will get this. She probably really does want to join up, but sometimes it's just not the right time. There's too much other stuff going on. Or sometimes people have all the best intentions, but they just can't get their shit together. And, you're not responsible for them getting their shit together. So, if she lets you down on Wednesday, my thing would be, look, I'm really happy to meet up, but you're going to have to come to my house. I'll be home on this day between this time. And, if you're there, if she comes, she comes. If she doesn't, she doesn't. You sort of put it out there, be positive, really reinforce how excited you are. And, but again, don't take it personally. This isn't about you. This is obviously about this woman and her life. And,
she's always been real sweet and nice. And when she's talking on the phone, she sounds like a go-getter, but just actions speaking.
She's going to have to go get a little, she needs to show that she's keen by actually taking that step. So look, see how you go. But remember, it's don't get discouraged about it. You will get other people that sign up on the spot, like a banging your door down. So it's just this is a game of this is a business, and it's like all businesses where there is it's no different to any. Nigel, can you go away? Sorry, it's my husband. It's being silly. Anyway, so it's like all businesses. Like in all my businesses everywhere. From cold calling to pitching for business, and when I was running my PR agency, we'd invest loads of money and thousands of hours in putting this stuff together, and then you just don't get the business. It's like, that's just the way it rolls. So, keep positive. She obviously is keen to join your team. Just keep going with it. See how you go on Wednesday, and if not, we'll come up with a new strategy.
I would just say book her in, but in terms of the, what you've seen so far, just treat it as she'd be treating it, and if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, just move on to the next step. Try not to put too much energy into it, considering the history of it.
Yeah, and I know it's hard because you sort of go, oh, yay, I've got this one, she's signing, and then they don't. I mean, we've got like paperwork for all these people that were like, yeah, I'm really keen, I'm going to sign up, and then, you know, they don't. So stuff just happens. You just move on. The main thing is, like, we don't continue to invest our energy. We'll keep up to date with them, but they've got to want to come to the party. You just move on to the next positive person. You've got to have a number of, you know, people on the go. You just got to fill the funnel.
My party's just finished. Here we go. Hello.
Well, I'll have to head off, everyone.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye.